Yo, what's going on, guys? KrispyFlakes here. So, unfortunately, my bitch-ass vacation got pushed back by a day. So, yeah, man, I thought for today's video, we'll do a video because I'm emotional right now because my vacation, it's pushed back and everything. I was supposed to be on the beach right now getting sunburned, and I don't know, that's probably about it for me. But yeah, guys, plain and simple, man, what we're going to be doing is I'm going to go through all these NBA players right here, and I'm going to say if they are overrated, properly rated, or underrated. So this is bound to piss you off at some point in this video, man, guarantees. So just before we get going, please help me out, man, and drop a like on this video, please, man, please, because it's just basketball, guys. Let's not get too emotional about it, but if you do want to get emotional, that's also fine too. It's always fun in the comments. So yeah, basically, guys, gotta say where I think they're at. Now keep in mind, this is not based off of where I think they are going to be. This is based off of my opinion of them as of right now, not what they're going to be, in 5 or 10 years, man. So I think that's safe to say. So I guess we're going to start off. Let's start off. I guess we'll just start off from the top right here, man. We're going to start with Steven Adams. Steven Adams, I do think earlier in the year was kind of like overrated. But at this point, as of right now, I'm going to say he's properly rated. Because there was a time there, man, where OKC Thunder fans were like, to them, Steven Adams was untouchable. They were saying, oh, he was one of the best centers in the NBA. And now it's like, okay, now that Paul George is gone, there's some trade rumors, there's talks of trading Steven Adams away. And after the playoffs, it seems like Thunder fans are more open to the idea of trading him away. Now, with that, I think it makes him properly rated, man, because it's a center that is good, could help a certain team out there in a certain system. But I'm not going out there and saying Steven Adams top 5 center in the NBA, man. I'm not saying he's that. So I'm going to say he's properly rated as of right now. Al Horford. I'm also going to say that Al Horford is properly rated. He's on the Philadelphia 76ers now, so, does he go out there and make them, like, instant championship contenders? Obviously he does, because that team was already, like, looking pretty damn good last season. But, I mean, like, he's the guy that could stop Joel Embiid, so he's on Joel's team now, so it's like Joel's going to be better because of it. But looking just Al Horford himself, it's like, we know what to expect from him at this point. A guy that's going to get you, a few buckets a game, going to go out there, play amazing defense, be a good switch defender, knock down the three-point shot with somewhat decent consistency based off, his position out there. Now, switching to the power forward position could be a little bit, sketchy out there. I don't think he really deserved, near a max contract, whatever it was that he got. But I think from a skill standpoint, he is properly rated. Next up, we got Alonzo Ball. It's going to be a long video, by the way, guys. So grab your popcorn, grab your snacks, grab your Krispy Kremes, whatever you need to do out there. And, do you, man. I'm going to take my time with this one so I can really explain myself. Let me make sure this is actually going. Okay, we're all good. We're all good. Okay, man, all stations are go. All systems go. Next up, we got Alonzo Ball. Alonzo Ball is one of the most underrated players in the entire NBA. The reason is because, a big thing about him is the stigma that LeVar Ball gives him, where it's like, okay, he came in the league and LeVar hyped him up, man, made him sound like this overrated player. And you got to look at what Lonzo does well. Us as NBA fans, we want our superstars, our all-stars, to go out there and score 40 points per game and do all that crazy stuff. That's not really Lonzo's game. I'm not saying he's a superstar or anything like that, but I will say that he is one of the best young defenders in the entire league. He has got some of the best court vision out there for his age, and he rebounds the basketball very nicely. So, if you can surround him with scores, he is the perfect fit, man. I do think that he could actually be like a better version of like a Rajon Rondo, somebody like that. You know what I'm saying? So I'm going to say he's underrated, man. He just gets a lot of hate. Bradley Beal. He is a properly rated player. I think we all recognize him as like an all-star caliber shooting guard, a guy that can bring some scoring, a little playmaking out there, and that's about it. Nobody's going out there saying that he's like the best of the best. We understand that the Washington Wizards fans want to keep him, but at the same time, there's a lot of teams out there that do want his talents that could definitely not win a championship as like your number one option, but as like a number 2 or number 3, Bradley Beal, that's definitely where you feel him at with that, man. Demarcus Cousins, Demarcus Cousins is a tough one. I think as of right now, he's properly rated. I don't think he is overrated. I don't think he's underrated. I think we recognize he's not the same player that he once was due to injury concerns out there. Now, his contract would reflect that he's probably more considered as underrated. Just because, he's only getting, $3.5 million this season, $5 million last season. But we haven't really seen all that much from him to really have a team go out there and give him this big, huge contract deal. So I'm going to say he's properly rated. Devin Booker. Ooh, I'm going to come back to him, guys. Malcolm Brogdon, he's properly rated. He's a guy that very efficient. That's kind of how we look at him as a very efficient guard. doesn't really have like the superstar name to him or anything like that. He just goes out there, plays smart basketball, and he's going to be a nice addition for the Indiana Pacers. So I think that one's pretty easy right there. All right, next up we got Brook Lopez. I'm going to say also properly rated. I mean, plain and simple, man. The dude shoots threes now. He really adjusted his game very, very nicely to the Milwaukee Bucks system. He used to be one of the best, like, back to the basket types of guys out there, and now he's one of the best shooting big guys out there. So you guys say he's properly rated for that, and got himself a nice little payday because of it. Okay, let me go with somebody else out here, man. What do we got for overrated? Overrated. I know there's a few out here, man. I'm gonna say Khris Middleton is overrated, and this comes from a big Khris Middleton fan. I recognize that he is like the perfect second option out there for Giannis, but do I think he is the perfect second option for a championship team? No, I do not. I do not think you can pay Khris Middleton max contract money. It's his contract that makes him overrated, guys. When he's getting a good payday, it's a great value out there. But the fact is that they had to get rid of Brogdon, and we just don't know what exactly this Bucks team is going to be like now, man. They paid a lot of money, of course, for Brook Lopez, so the Milwaukee Bucks definitely took a step back. So I'm going to say he's an overrated player because of that, unfortunately speaking. Okay. Devin Booker, after all things considered, this one's going to give me a lot of hate. I already know it, man. And keep in mind, he's from Grand Rapids, Michigan. I'm not too far from there. So I respect what he does. But Devin Booker, as of right now, is an overrated player. And hear me out, man. I'm not saying he can't get to the level of being, a guy that can help you win a championship. But as of right now, he's getting Kobe comparisons, man. People go out there and say that he's the Kobe Bryant of the league, and him and DeAndre Ayton is the Kobe and Shaq. Because he's not Kobe. That makes him overrated just for that right there. Can he get to a better point? Yes, he can. But right now, he's a guy that puts up stats on a bad team, and that's it. He's Kevin Love. He's Kevin Love with the Phoenix Suns back when he was on the Timberwolves. So for that reason, that makes him overrated. He can definitely get there in the future there. Next up, we're gonna go with. Let's go with Buddy Hield. We'll just keep on going this way. Buddy Hield. He was a candidate for a most improved player. I think he's a nice addition. He's been a nice player for the Sacramento Kings. He definitely made them, losing out on Boogie via trade not as bad. So I'm going to say for that reason he's properly rated. That's fine. Next up, CJ McCollum. CJ McCollum's overrated. And the reason he's overrated is literally the same thing as Khris Middleton. I think CJ McCollum is a great shooting guard. But I for the life of me, man, if you are trying to win a championship, Damian Lillard and CJ McCollum is your top two options has proven not to work. Yes, it's going to win you a lot of regular season games, but it's not winning the championship, and that's what this is all about, man. That's what makes you rated or underrated or overrated. It's like they're always a top tier team, man. But he needs to be a third option, man, and he's not. That makes him overrated. John Collins. I'm going to say he's an underrated player. John Collins is one of my favorite just like young big guys in the entire NBA. I think he does it all. He is playing the 4 spot. I will say I would ultimately like him to get to that center position where he can play a little bit more defense out there and kind of be a guy that can stretch at the center spot. But as right now, it proves that he can't really play defense on other centers. But playing that 4 spot, being 6'10", extremely athletic, a do-it-all guy out there, minus the defense a little bit, man. I mean, of course, playing the 4 spot kind of helps negate that a little bit. But I think he's one of the best up-and-coming players in the entire NBA, guys. Plain and simple, man. Mike Conley. Mike Conley's always been an underrated player. I don't know how many All-Star games has he made. He's made a few of them, right? But regardless, Mike Conley always seems to be a guy that doesn't really get talked about as one of the best point guards in the NBA. Last season for Memphis Grizzlies, I believe he had like his best season ever, and just nobody talked about it. Yes, it's not really linked to wins, but from a point guard standpoint, from a trade standpoint to the Utah Jazz, I think this is one of the most underrated moves that was made this year, guys. And I really do think that Mike Conley does make the Utah Jazz a championship contending team. I really do. I really do. Next up, we got Damian Lillard. Damian Lillard's interesting. I'm going to say properly rated, but I could definitely also see a little underrated. I don't think he always gets the respect that he deserves, but I think, some of the things he did at the playoffs kind of helped negate that a little bit, so I'm going to say he's properly rated. D'Lo is underrated. D'Lo made an all-star team last season, man. D'Lo has been bounced around left and right, and despite that, he always finds a way to continue to get better. Can you imagine? Let's say, man, you come out of college and you join a company and you do fine. I think I made the same analogy with him already, man. I ain't gonna dwell too long on that. But let's just say you keep on getting bounced around to new companies, man. But each year you get better. That says something about your character. I will hope for good things for him on the Golden State Warriors. DeMar DeRozan, he's underrated. He literally went from being like the best shooting guard in the Eastern Conference to a guy that nobody really talks about anymore. Because, of course, Kawhi Leonard won the Raptors a championship. And, like, DeMar is like, yeah, don't got that three-point shot, but everything else he does pretty damn good out there. So I'm going to say he's underrated. Next up, we got Spencer Dinwiddie. He's an underrated player. He's a guy that plays, six-man, obviously, for the Brooklyn Nets. He could be a starting point guard on a ton of NBA teams. Great playmaker. Scoring-wise, he can get it done. Maybe not the volume you want, but I think he does enough good things out there. He's got good height. I'm going to say he's an underrated player. Victor Oladipo, properly rated. I think we all recognize he's one of the best defensive guards in the NBA. I think we all recognize how important he is to the Indiana Pacers. Yes, their record without him last season was still pretty damn nice, but for them to get to that next level, it's going to be all about Victor Oladipo. So yeah. Okay, Goran Dragic. I'm gonna chalk up to overrated, and that's kind of because of like the money he's getting paid out there. And I just don't feel like he's much of a starting caliber point guard anymore. I would love to see him take on like a six-man role, kind of like a Spencer Dinwiddie does. I think that's kind of like where his value is these days. I do think he'll do okay for the Miami Heat, playing alongside Jimmy Butler. I don't think it's the optimal choice. I think it would be better to trade him away, and he's got kind of a large contract, so I think that makes him overrated. Draymond Green, one of the most underrated players in the NBA, man. People underrate this man because they hate his personality. They don't recognize exactly how important he is to the Golden State Warriors system out there. Because, like I said, man, people think about scoring and stuff like that. They don't look at defense anymore like they used to. His playmaking abilities, just being the tough glue guy out there, he's underrated. Derrick Rose. Derrick Rose he's underrated. Last year, man, he had like an 18-point per game season for the Timberwolves. And I know he's on the Pistons fan, so I'm not trying to sound biased or anything like that. But I would have said this about any single team he went to, man. People look at him and they just say, oh, yeah, that's old, injured Derrick Rose. No, man, this dude dropped 50 points last season in the game. Like, Derrick Rose still has it to some extent. Despite going through all those injuries, he still has it to some extent. Dennis Smith. Come back to him, man. We'll come back to him. Is that is that Bradley Beal again? No, that's Eric Gordon. Eric Gordon's properly rated. He's just a good. No. I'm gonna say no. Wait, Eric Gordon's actually overrated. He's actually overrated, guys. I'm gonna tell you why this, man. He's a very high volume shooter, and yes, he does have games where it's like, okay, he gets hot and knocks down a few of them. But I mean, there gets to a point where he can actually cripple your team out there. I found that he did that more than a few times for the Houston Rockets last season, and I just, I no longer see him as like a starter. I see him as like a guy that should be coming off the bench and not being like your main bench guy. Just being like, a 7th or 8th man in your rotation. That's kind of where I see him at this point in his NBA career. Gallinari is underrated. 20-point per game scorer. For a 6'10 guy, can put the ball on the floor. Decent passing abilities. Looked upon because of his contract and also some of his injury past, but he had a very solid season for the Clippers. And honestly, man, I feel like Danilo Gallinari and Russell Westbrook, that could actually be a problem in the Thunder, for other teams going up against the Thunder. So yeah. We got Rudy Gobert, properly rated, I'll say. Good defense, one of the best defensive guys in the entire NBA. Solid rebounder, good scorer on the basket. Nobody's really expecting him to do anything besides that, and for that reason, he gets properly rated. Aaron Gordon, he's kind of overrated. Because I look at this Magic squad, and I look at the money that Aaron Gordon's being paid, and I'm just kind of like, you know what, he could be replaced. You can go out there, you could start Jonathan Isaac at the 4, and the team would be fine. I think he's a guy that tries to be more than what he is out there, and I do think he kind of cripples the Magic for that reason. I hate to say it, man, but he's Larry Nance Jr. that just gets more shots. That's what he is. He's Larry Nance Jr. that just gets more shots. James Harden's properly rated. MVP is what it is. Drew Holiday's underrated, mainly for the sense that, he's one of the best scoring guards in the NBA. He can play either position. Defense is always on point, and he's just not really recognized as a great, I think we recognize he's a good player, but I don't think people recognize that this man's a great player. He's a great player. Brandon Ingram is properly rated. Yo, hopefully this don't mess up my thing too much here. Okay, no, we're good. Yeah, I say Brandon Ingram's properly rated. We recognize he has some work to do out there. I don't think anybody's saying he's a superstar yet. I don't think anybody's saying he's a bust yet. We just recognize he's kind of trusting the process and going with it. All right, let's go with Dennis Smith. Dennis Smith, I'm just going to say is... I'm going to say he's properly rated. He can be a starting point guard. He's got some more work to do, but don't expect your team to be amazing with him as your starting point guard. Expect him to be like mediocre, but we all kind of know that about Dennis Smith. He's just kind of like, he's an okay point guard. Jamal Murray. Ooh, this is a good one. This is a good one right here. I don't think he's underrated. I want to see him, he's viewed upon as a great point guard now, I would say, but he's not overrated. He's not overrated yet. I can see Nugget fans starting to overrate him, but I'm going to say right now he's properly rated. I'm good with that one. LeBron James, extremely underrated. Yes, I just said it there, guys. LeBron James, yes, the Lakers did not make the playoffs last season, but guess what, man? LeBron dropped like 27-9. Yeah, the defense was down a little bit. I understand that he's getting a bit older out there, but people were saying he had a bad season. No, man. You get any other player out there that's dropping 27-9, you put it up there for MVP. It's just because we take for granted what LeBron James does. Jimmy Butler. You know what? Jimmy Butler, at this point in his NBA career, what Miami Heat fans expect him to be, he's overrated, guys. He's overrated because of this. Jimmy Butler is no longer number one option. Jimmy Butler cannot be a number one option on your team, and your team is going to have great success. You'll have some success. I do fully expect the Miami Heat to actually make the playoffs. But Jimmy Butler's not going out there. He's not going to get you a top 4 seed. I don't think he's past the first round of the playoffs. Just Jimmy Butler, and that I fear so much for that Miami Heat team. Like if they go out there and get Russell Westbrook, I will move Jimmy Butler down to properly rated. But it sounds like that as of right now, man, Jimmy Butler. A lot, people just think he's going to go out there and just really carry this Miami Heat squad, like the Bull days. He's not that anymore, man. He's great, but he's not number one material. Joel Embiid is properly rated. I think we all recognize him as the top 1-2 center in the entire NBA. Same with Jokic. I mean, you can have the argument all day about who's the best center out there between those two guys. So, yeah. Josh Richardson, one of the most underrated players in the NBA. Seriously, I do expect him on the 76ers to go out there, provide some great shooting abilities, some great defense. I mean, honestly, man, I could actually see him going out there and being a better fit than Jimmy Butler was. I really can see that. Playing that 2 spot, his defense is going to be on point, man. Now, with him, you don't exactly get like the playmaking and stuff they give the Jimmy Buckets out there, but they got one hell of a player. Kawhi, properly rated. We all recognize him as one of the best players in the NBA. Kemba Walker, I'm going to say he's underrated. I think we look at Kemba Walker and what he did for the Charlotte Hornets and like the numbers he put up. And I use this argument to the day, man. If you go out there and you replace Kemba with any other great point guard out there that has playoff success, like a Stephen Curry, or like now, Kemba on the Boston Celtics, I think that team takes the next. I think that team can still be just as good, if not almost just as good. Because you look at Kemba's stats last season, man, he was dropping like 26 points, shot like 39%. I think it might have been 36% this season. It's been around like 40% for the last like 3-4 years for Kemba Walker from 3. So it's like he's doing that, being like 6 foot and having nobody else around him on the Charlotte Hornets. You put him on the Boston Celtics now, damn, that team's gonna be nice. Klay Thompson, properly rated. We all recognize him as one of the best shooters of all time, and that's what he is. Kyrie Irving. You know, I was going to have Kyrie as overrated. But if it was last season, based off, if he was still on the Celtics, I think I would still have him as overrated. But for now, I'm going to say properly rated. I think we now recognize that Kyrie is not the leader he wanted to be. We recognize he needs another star out there to really be great. And I think we all know the Nets are not going to win the championship next season. It's not until Kyrie becomes that second option and Kevin Durant becomes that first option when he's healthy that that team's really going to have success. Zach Lavine, he's an overrated player. I know Chicago Bulls fans love their Zach Lavine out there. He's a great dunker. He's a very fun player to watch. Got good handles. But let's be honest, man. The reason he put up all those crazy numbers was he was just a high-volume guy. He was a high-volume guy. And, as opposed to Kemba Walker, I feel like Kemba does some other things out there where he can be like a number 1, number 2 option on a great team. I don't see Zach Lavine ever being a number 1 or number 2 option on a great team. I see him being like a 3rd or 4th option on a great team. But, I mean, the numbers don't lie, man. Like, he put up great numbers. The team did not really have success. But like I said, I know people are going to say, well, what about Kemba Walker? Crispy, what about Kemba Walker? I don't know, man. Just something about Kemba just kind of drove me towards underrated, okay? Just, I don't know, man. I don't know. That's how I am. Marcus Aldridge, properly rated. We all recognize him as just being fine. Lou Williams, properly rated. Kevin Love. Ooh. Kevin Love is underrated. A lot of people kind of forgot about Kevin Love being on Cleveland because, you know, he's had injury issues and stuff like that, and his contract's ridiculous. But when he's actually out there playing completely healthy ball, he can still be a championship contender type of guy. He can still be a guy who could be like I want to say a 2nd option, a 3rd option at this point, man. I think he could still be a solid 18-point, 10 rebound per game guy. I do see that with K Love still. I just don't think people recognize that anymore. Kyle Lowry, properly rated player. Luka Doncic, properly rated. We all see the greatness in Luka. We all see the greatness, and we all are waiting for it to just take itself to the next level there. Paul Millsap, properly rated. A solid rotational guy for the Denver Nuggets. Donovan Mitchell. I'm going to say Donovan Mitchell is actually underrated there, guys. He's actually underrated for the sole fact that last year, when the season first started, he was really having a bad sophomore slump. Like, he was not shooting very good out there, and things were not looking all that great. And he just started to really bounce back and start putting up great numbers again, and really dug deep mentally to not let the mental aspect of the game really get to him. And he helped carry that Utah Jazz team to a really nice season. For his age out there, I thought that his leadership abilities were nice, and I think Mike Conley is going to help his game even more. And I really do have the Utah Jazz, guys. I got them as like a dark horse for getting to the damn NBA Finals. I really do, man. Miles Turner. Miles Turner. What to do with him? Properly rated. He's not underrated. He has another. I say this every season, man. It's like I always say, "Yo, Miles, I'm waiting for you to take that next step." I feel like last season he took like a half a step, and he has to go that next half a step. And I do expect to do it this season, so I'm gonna say he's properly rated. Nurkic, properly rated, solid center. Otto Porter. I think it's kind of overrated. I really do. I'm sorry, man. Bulls fans gonna think I'm hating them, man. I got Jimmy, Zach, and Otto. I'm not trying to hate, man, but Otto Porter, just has a bitch-ass contract. I feel like he's okay at shooting threes. His defense is okay. I feel like for his length and his body, he should be a lot better at creating his own shot, and he's just not. So I got him as overrated. Paul George, properly rated. I think he's going to be an amazing number 2 option to Kawhi Leonard. JJ Reddick is actually underrated, guys. People just look at JJ Reddick as a guy that's good at shooting threes. He's so much more than that. He brings you consistency. He just brings you the intelligence out there. And he's a guy that has made the playoffs every single season of his NBA career. If that doesn't say something about him, and you know, because if he was just a 3-point shooter, you'd have plenty of other guys out there that could say that, man. He brings you another thing to the locker room. Russell Westbrook, as much as I want you to be a Detroit Piston, you are overrated. You chase the triple doubles. You have issues out there keeping stars to play with you. Have that be because of you or some other reasons. I mean, people look at you as like a top 2 or 3 point guard in the NBA, but you have no playoff success. That makes you overrated. Now, if you come to the Pistons, you'll be underrated. No, not really. Dennis Schroder, I think, is underrated. I do think it's a great thing that he's kind of taken on that 6-man role for OKC. It's kind of cool to see that. But quite frankly, man, the statistics kind of back it up. When he was actually on the Atlanta Hawks team before Trae Young, there was some months out there, man, where he was actually putting up some of the best like per stats and plus minus stats out of any point guard in the entire NBA. Now, and I think for that reason, because you don't look at Dennis Schroder and being like, oh man, this guy could be a starter and he can win a championship. I don't think that, but I just think him as a 6-man is so valuable. I think he's so valuable, and people don't recognize that. Pascal Siakam got most improved player, so I think he's properly rated. We all see what he is. Ben Simmons, he's properly rated. He's not overrated, because I would say he was overrated. People were going out there saying he was, you know, just, man, this guy's like one of the best young guys in the NBA, but we all recognize he needs to add a three-point shot to his game. We all see it, so it's not like we got people out there denying that. De'Aaron Fox, I think, is underrated. I think he's one of the best young point guards in the NBA. I really do think the Kings got something brewing up over there in Sacramento, and I think he's going to be the head of it. He's a great player, guys. Quickness, defense, even becoming a pretty good shooter out there is very nice. Jason Tatum, he's overrated, guys. Right now, he's overrated. I do think he becomes an NBA superstar, so don't get too pissy at me, Boston Celtic fans. But Celtic Nation put this guy on too high of a pedestal before he really deserved it, you know? And this next season, we're going to see a lot out of him. I still think he isn't like the first option on the team. I still think that is Kemba Walker, obviously. This next season, though, I think is going to be make it or break it, because if he just puts up like subpar numbers, then we can no longer say, well, it was Kyrie's fault, because, you know, he has another great point guard playing with him. So right now he's overrated. I got to see what he does this season, man. I'm not ready to draw him up as like this all-star, superstar player. I do think he could get there, but I don't think he's there right now. I think a lot of people, you know, a lot of Celtic fans expect him to be an all-star next season. Next up, we got Tobias Harris. Properly rated. I mean, yeah, I don't know if he's quite worth the max contract, but when he is like your third option player out there, I mean, he was amazing for the Clippers. I do think by them losing Jimmy Butler, that opens up more shots for Tobias Harris, which is actually a good thing. So I think he's properly rated. Karl-Anthony Towns, extremely underrated. I don't know how many like lists I've seen with Karl-Anthony Towns not listed as like one of the best centers in the NBA. Like, yes, I know the Timberwolves are not really like doing all that great out there, but I don't think that's Karl-Anthony Towns. I think that's the same exact issue that happened to Kevin Garnett and Kevin Love, and that's just piss poor management not building around this man correctly. He's somebody that you want to surround with playmakers and shooters, and you have none of that, man. Like, Jeff Teague ain't that no more. You all freaking Taj Gibson, you got Jordan Bell next to him now. That's not going to get it done. Andrew Wiggins is a high-volume, low-efficient guy. Man, dude, there's so much potential to just build such a great team around him. We got Vucevic. I'm going to say he's underrated. A lot of people are kind of mad the Magic gave him a pretty good-sized contract. He was an all-star last season. I think he does everything out there that you want your center to do right now. He's not like some old-ass player. And he's just a nice option out there. Like Mo Bamba, you hope Mo Bamba gets to be an all-star. You already got one of Vucevic. So embrace that, or Orlando did, and I think it was a good choice. Hassan Whiteside. Hassan Whiteside. I almost called him Swan Whiteside. Hassan Whiteside. This upcoming season, I'm not talking about years past. I'm talking about this upcoming season. I see him as underrated. I don't think people recognize just how big of a pickup this is going to be for the Portland Trail Blazers. For one, you got rid of like Myers Leonard and Mo Harkless. I mean, yeah, Mo was okay, but you got Ken Bazemore out there, you got Ronnie Hood, you're fine at those spots. Hassan Whiteside, when motivated, is a great center in the NBA. Enes Kanter was on the team last year. He brought scoring and rebounding. Hassan Whiteside brings scoring, rebounding, and defense. He's on a contract year. He's playing for a winner now. He's going to be such a big pickup for that team. Andrew Wiggins, he's properly rated. The reason I say that, man, is because we don't really, like, we no longer see Andrew Wiggins as, like, this great superstar player. I think we all kind of recognize that he is kind of just like, okay, he's whatever. But then Anthony Davis finished things off, is properly rated, recognized as one of the best big guys in the NBA, man. So this is my list. I know there's probably some disagreements out there, but I think I proved my points pretty nicely out there. And keep in mind, guys, when I have a guy listed as overrated, there's a multitude of reasons out there. You know, have that be skill set is a few of the things out there. Have it be, do I think they can really help a team win a championship based off their spot in the rotation right now, and a lot of other things, man. So hope I don't piss you guys off too much, but hope you guys all enjoyed. Be sure to drop that like, subscribe if you're new to my channel, and peace out, my friends.